Potomac, Season 10, Episode 5, Sunshine and Sexts. Of course, we leave off where we left off at the dinner where Ashley brings up Chris Samuels and Stacy. Like, what's going on with y'all? Because I heard that, you was trying to get the number and you was reaching out and that y'all might have been talking or something. And, of course, Stacy was like, well, no, I did, like, we do know each other. We're good friends. Where we both are going through divorces and all such and such, things in common, should we say. But she never admitted to saying that, oh yeah, me and him was actually kicking or nothing. So she never did say nothing like that. So Giselle asks, have they ever met Monique? Has she ever met Monique? Asked Stacey that, yeah. And of course she says, no, I haven't met her yet. I'm sure she's a nice lady. And, just in her confessional trying to say, like, dang, these girls is just hounding me about everything. Like, they just want me to be somebody that I am not. So bad. Actually, no, she said this at the table. Because Angel, she turned around and say, girl, I can relate. Yeah, and with that, because, Angel is still a little bit upset here, okay? They go inside to Giselle's little room and she has a cake for Wendy. So we're not going to do no big old celebration like we did, I think, the last time. Was that actually the 40th or first 40th? Whatever. Whichever one. I think it was her 40th birthday. So she went all out, but we ain't going to do that this time. Okay, going to get a little bit of cake. We'll take a shot or two and then we're going to bed. And I think this was the time that Kay decided to go to bed a little bit early. So that leaves Angel here by herself. They play in this questions game, Ashley always with the sexual stuff. Asking Wendy, have you ever had a crush on a girl? Wendy says yes. At some point she was digging some stripper with some braces somewhere down, I don't know. And she thought about it, but, obviously never did nothing. Ashley is asking Jazzy, do you think your man is still cheating on you? Like, what kind of question is that? But she says, no, I don't think so. We did that, but, he's good now. Wendy's asking, okay, well, if y'all go kill somebody, who would you kill? And, that's how I knew the buzz was kicked in at this point. Because what kind of question is this? They're like, well, why are you going to ask something like that? We trying to get along here, right? And like I said, Angel, she wasn't over it. But I think in this moment, they kind of thought she was, because she jumped up and said, oh, I want to kill Giselle right now because you tried to call me a catfish, and I ain't like that. And so they're like, oh, okay, Angel girl. Ooh. Not realizing that, girl, she was really, really irritated. But she gonna say this later, because they don't know it now. But in this moment, yeah, she wasn't trying to get hyped up, which it did seem like she was. But to me, I don't know. I just thought everybody was tipsy. And with that behavior, Wendy is like, and maybe a couple others just pointing out, okay, well, maybe Angel is a little bit more looser without Kay being around. Something might be something here, right? So the next day, we are with Angel and Kay at their little room, and Giselle comes by to say, hey, check on them or whatever. Angel lets her know, like, yeah, I'm a bit disappointed. Let me talk to you for a minute. Kay lets them have room. And she's just telling her, like, yeah, I came into this group. I'm looking up to you as like a big sister. And you go ahead and shut me down like this, body shaming me, basically. And she's crying at this point. And Giselle's like, oh my God, you really crying? Like, oh, I ain't really hurt your feelings. I was just joking. But, the picture did look like this and this and this and that. Of course, like I said, for me, I understood perfectly in the moment. And I'm just not sure why it was at least... It's 6 of them, right? 6 or 7 of the ladies who pretty much all have had a kid, besides Jazzy. So you kind of know that we gained weight, lose weight, gain weight, whatever, how it go, depending on your body type, okay? For her, it's not rubbing off too fast as she thought it was going to be. Okay, so it did hit her a little bit sensitively there, and I think Giselle, she realized like, dang, I'm gonna try to apologize here. So she did apologize. Um, Angel just explained to her a little bit, like, okay, back in the day, I used to work, like red carpets and stuff, and they showed pictures of her, like, yeah, I used to be that girl about myself, and I had to watch it because it was part of the job, But right after kids, things happen, so I just wanted you to be aware that that's how I'm feeling. Not really over it just yet, but I got it off my chest, so I'm gonna move on from there from that. Okay, so of course Giselle takes it, and we'll move on. Look, or are we? Because they're always gonna bring it back up. I actually kind of forgot why Ashley and Kay went over to talk for a minute. I know Kay wanted to smooth some things out with Ashley, but I kind of forget the whole. Was it important? So yeah, bringing it back up again. Angel, we all go downstairs to meet up with all the other ladies, and she's telling them like, yeah, just talk to Angel, and she's still upset, and and Tia's like, well, I thought she was fine last night. I thought we got over it. She seemed happy and jumping around and whatever, whatever. And see this, and Wendy's trying to point it out, like, see, that's what I'm saying. It's a dark cloud over them girls, Wendy and Kay. It's something about them. I don't like them. And it's like, dude, I don't even look. Winky eye to you, Wendy. Whatever you say at this point, whatever you say. The tourist guy or the driver of the car got to sing them a little song on their way to, what was they going to? The museum. They going on tour the Alexander Hamilton. I guess he was born down in where they at on this trip? Let's see, like, I don't forgot where he at, but they at his house. Yeah, y'all know Hamilton and the play and all that stuff. So he like black or something. I don't know. Do your research. He was a president. And while the tour guide is giving some spiel about how Alexander Hamilton died, um, if y'all remember way back in school, he was the one that did the duel, boom, 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 but he lost. um, who was he fighting? William Burr, something. Um, and Angel, not Angel, but Wendy was throwing some shade at Kay and Angel, talking about some, yeah, backstab. I know all about it. So after all that, they dispersed and doing their own thing. Tia expressed that she would have pulled Angel to the side, to address the catfish thing because, her initial thought when she saw the pictures was, whoa, who was that? But then she looked again and, it clicked in her mind what was going on. So Jazzy's like, well, yeah, I don't know. I think in that K might be, or not K, but Angel might be acting a little bit different without K around because she was all hype and stuff. So, what was going on with that? Angel does address it just to say, like, I was all hype and stuff, but it wasn't like excitement hype. It was annoyance. But y'all don't know me like that, so y'all wouldn't understood. So as they go into more conversation, Wendy rolls back to the night before, like, dang, Ashley is playing Captain Save-A-Ho because we was definitely trying to get up in Giselle business, but Ashley comes in with the block with the Chris Samuel stuff, so we didn't get a chance to dive in. So they go ahead and ask Giselle all about the NFL date and who is he, what they doing, and of course they still try to throw it back to Chris Samuels and Stacy, but Wendy's like, no, 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 no. I'm talking about you, Giselle, and this dude, so what's going on? So of course Giselle confesses, like, okay, they have been talking for a minute, for maybe a little bit longer than what people thought, because he has met at least one of the daughters, and they may or may not have seen each other naked. And for some reason, Wendy thinks this is Giselle being a good friend. I guess so. Angel brings up like, ooh, I got a notification. Bobby just sent me some money. Yay. And of course, Giselle is like, well, dang, she always talking about this Bobby. I thought we were supposed to get to know her, but it's Bobby, Bobby, Bobby. Like, okay. Like these other girls don't talk about their husbands or their men. Like they have, especially Robin, because we was hearing about Juan all the time. And speaking of relationships, we Tia explains how she met her husband, Rob, in England, where I don't know, I can't remember what line he hit her with, but she fell for it, and it is some cultural differences from Americans, blacks versus like English blacks or black Africans, because it's different ways of lives and things that they don't experience is different, all that type stuff. But as a unit, they have navigated said differences, and they live in as good as they can as a good relationship, ain't nothing wrong with their marriage, at least that we know of. Okay, so we get into a little bit of fun here, which I think the only fun that we have is with Stacy. Giselle is not fun. She only starts mess. Ashley's not fun. She be thinking she trying to have fun, but she's not. She just starts mess. Wendy doesn't know how to have fun. She, been working all her damn life. She don't even know if what FUN was standing in front of her. She wouldn't know what to do with it. But they go shopping. And this is where Wendy is slowly but surely starting to break down, because she's like, oh my God, I am sick. Like, I was a little bit sick before I left, but maybe the heat is getting to her. So it's like, oof, I'm feeling it. I need to sit down, maybe get back to the house, but buy a couple shirts, and that's about it. Angel, on the other hand, was having some fun with her husband. She's like, ooh, I sent him simply the word sex. And like whatever he sent her back. So they like, ooh, Stacy. She's like, well, I never did nothing like that or whatever. So let me try. So she sends it to Timu. And he replies back, what do you say? Who is this? Or something like that, or like, what? And she sent the picture of herself like, ooh, with me, like sex with me. And he said, I think you got the wrong number. So everybody's just laughing like, girl, did you really send it to him? And of course, he is German. So the language, he probably ain't understand what the heck was going on. Like, it was funny. So like, it was Stacy. All the fun stuff happens with Stacy. We leave the museum and we get to go and we get to play some steel drums, the pans. Dun, 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 dun. If you know about it, you know about it. So Wendy is officially sick. She's gonna stay back in her room for the night. She's gonna miss dinner. All the ladies, I actually didn't even notice, but they were drinking Killer Bee shots pretty much this whole time. So I had to look that up. Like, what's a Killer Bee shot? I know it involves rum, because obviously Caribbean, everything's like rum based, unless you hit like the Spanish ones, and then tequila or mezcal. But yeah, I might need to get me one of them Killer Bee shots somewhere. If somebody. So before we close out the show, we are at dinner, and we pretty much stir up this back and forth between Kay and Jazzy, because it's like, what happened between y'all to where y'all not cool? Because everybody thought y'all was cool. We kind of met. Should we say we met them together, or y'all kind of was on the show together, so to speak? When we got to meet y'all, and y'all just, the friendship was just, the chemistry was there, but something happened along the way. And this goes back to this he say, she say type of deal, where Angel's like, or not Angel. Um, Kay's like, yeah, you. Okay, well, first, the conversation started because Giselle, let's say, listen, always starting some mess telling Kay that Wendy was a little bit offended that you missed eating some of the cake or whatever, right? So, of course, she said, well, I just needed a minute, it's all right. I was tired. Y'all got to get to know Angel a little bit better, let her do her thing. But Jazzy, she was on my nerves. So basically, when it comes to Kay's friendship with Wendy, at some point she was talking to Jazzy about Wendy. And that's where Jazzy, I guess, been holding on to some information that Kay, that's what I about to say, Kay, Kiana, y'all know her name, that she was talking about Wendy in a negative light. And obviously this would be probably during her frustrations with Wendy and how she was being so-called treated, or this was after they tried to make up and Wendy thought they was all over it cool. Okay, so I guess we got to kind of get the timeline on this, because is this old beef or is this new beef? Either way, Jazzy is holding on to whatever that Kiana had said about Wendy, and so that's what Kay is a little bit upset about, because you keep saying that you know something or you got something or what I said, but you're not saying what it is. And the confessionals ask her, okay, Jazzy, well, what did you say? And all it was simply was that do not trust Wendy. Simply put. And I'm like, really? All this for that? Like, because it's a build up, right? It's a build up to the next episode. And I'm like, really? Don't trust her. That's it. Even though it's so minuscule, Wendy gonna blow up. I bet you. So we'll get to the next episode. We'll see how the rest of the trip goes, because this was only day one. Hopefully Wendy gets better. Dang, that means we ain't gonna get, you know what? They gonna give us Monique literally at the end. Cause this is what episode is this? Fine. Okay, we got some more episodes to go. Okay. But we gonna get through this trip. All right, peace out.